We all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for attending our May 28th board meeting. Paul, if you'll go ahead and take roll, certification of the quorum and proof of notice.
Sure. So we've got Joe Mulcahy, Keith Covington, Brian McAdon, Frank Canestra, and George Custis, and Uwe Roper on Zoom. So we have a quorum, and notice was posted in accordance with Florida statute.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. I know Monique sent out a copy of with a small little edit of the board notes from last. Has everybody had an opportunity to review those?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Can I get a motion to approve?
A motion to approve?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Approved. Okay, go ahead and jump into the item number 6 is the President's Report. And again, good afternoon, everyone. As part of the President's Report today, I'd like to briefly update the community on several important initiatives and projects currently underway throughout Pelican Marsh. First of all, I'm very pleased to say that our community continues to be in a very strong position financially, operationally, and from a long-range planning perspective. We've seen another highly active and successful season throughout the campus, tremendous resident participation across tennis, pickleball, bocce, fitness, dining, entertainment, and community events. As many of you know, the Community Center Expansion Initiative received overwhelming support from the community during our special meeting and resident vote process, with nearly 90% approval from participating residents. That strong mandate reinforced that what we already had heard through the long-range planning process, that residents want us to thoughtfully pursue improvements that enhance the long-term value and lifestyle experience of Pelican Marsh. Since that time, we've continued advancing the next steps in a very thoughtful and disciplined manner. On March 14th, Paul Madry attended a formal county hearing regarding the parking initiative associated with the expansion project. I'm pleased to report that the hearing was very positive, and based on the current timeline, we anticipate receiving official county approval by approximately mid-June. Assuming the county approval is received as expected, the parking project is anticipated to move forward this summer, with targeted completion during the fourth quarter of this year. As we've consistently communicated, the parking component is a critical foundational step in creating a viable path forward for the future expansion of the community center campus. In addition, several previously approved improvement projects are also moving forward this summer. These include Phase 1, landscaping enhancements at the front entrance of the community campus, parking lot improvements designed to address standing water and puddling issues after heavy rains, and continued planning work associated with the expansion and long-term modernization of the facility. You may also begin seeing additional collaboration this summer between our architects, interior design professionals, management team, and a resident subcommittee established to support the expansion planning and modernization process. The objective is to ensure that future renovations, including the proposed fitness center and multipurpose room expansion areas, integrate seamlessly with the existing facility and create a cohesive, modern look and feel throughout the community center campus. In addition to the community center expansion planning efforts, the board continues to focus on a number of other projects and initiatives throughout the campus to design to enhance the resident experience and address long-term maintenance priorities. One project already approved and currently moving forward involves replacement and repair of several aging light poles and lighting fixtures around portions of the tennis facilities. Residents may have already noticed portions of that work are already underway as we continue improving both safety and overall appearance throughout the campus. In addition, later in today's meeting, under new business, the board will consider several additional projects and initiatives for approval. As part of our long-term planning process, one of the reoccurring themes we heard from residents was interest in expanding the beach access opportunities. Over the past several months, management and board representatives have worked collaboratively with Tarpon Cove to develop a reciprocal agreement that would provide additional seasonal opportunities and amenities for residents of both communities. That reciprocal agreement will be presented to the board for consideration later today. The board will also consider recommendations associated with several court sports committee initiatives, including the addition of a canopy structure and water fountain adjacent to the north patio area of the pickleball courts, as well as fencing replacement and repair work around portions of the tennis court facilities. If approved, these projects would move forward during the summer months as part of our continued commitment to maintaining and enhancing the amenities that are important to our residents. I'd also like to recognize Lynn Atzington for coordinating and scheduling a special community event on Friday, February 3rd. Friday, February 3rd, in celebration of the 4th of July holiday and the upcoming 250th anniversary of our nation's, what's that?
You said February.
Oh, February, July 3rd, sorry. It says July here. We appreciate Lynn's efforts along with many volunteers and staff members who continue helping create the strong sense of community that makes Pelican Marsh such a special place to live. I also want to recognize and thank our many volunteers, committee members, board members, and our outstanding staff led by Paul Madry. The amount of resident involvement across this community continues to be one of Pelican Marsh's greatest strengths. And finally, I believe what continues to separate Pelican Marsh is that we're not trying to do everything. We're trying to do the right things in the right way with a disciplined and thoughtful approach focused on the long-term value of the community. Thanks everyone for your continued support and involvement. And with that, I'll turn it over to Paul for the general manager's report.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, so summer has arrived with many residents now back to their northern homes. Just a reminder that required maintenance and/or cleaning still needs to be kept up on your home while you're away. It's also a good idea to have a home watch person or a friend lined up to monitor your home while you're gone to prevent any unforeseen issues that may arise. We can see that activity has really started to slow down now that summer's here. The following charts give us some idea of more details of how that use levels have started to drop. The blue bars on the charts indicate the number of individual players and or users who participated in the months, and the red bar indicates how many games or visits were made during the month by the players and users. So you can see first pickleball players in the games they played have started to fall in the month of April from the previous month. And that's the same for tennis too. The gym and group fitness and spa users and visits have also started to decline with summer coming. It started in April. You can see the gym numbers, how they slipped a little bit in April from March. Same with group fitness. Oops, there you go. And the spa. And same trend goes with activities. March is our busiest month for activities, and you can see it start to decline in April. Now, bocce was an outlier for the month. Actually, it rose from the previous month in April. I spoke with Lynn, and we have had a social league play going on, and we had a lot of family visitors over spring break. They play bocce, so the numbers spiked in April.
So Paul, question for
Yes.
clarification. Are guests then included in the unique players number? as
Yes,
well?
guests and members and their guests are included. Now, obviously, for the report for next month, you'll see for May and the remaining summer months, we really should see significant drops in the usage overall for the departments. Any questions on the numbers? Great. Summer is also the time we get our needed maintenance and other projects done around the community center. As Joe highlighted in his report, the landscaping enhancement project for our front entrance and courtyard area should start by the 1st of July. This enhancement will include new bushes and palms and trees that will line the entryways and walkways, as well as around the fire pit seating area. And additionally, we'll be adding uplighting to all the palms in the courtyard. And this project also includes enhancements that we've done around the bocce courts too. You can see out in the parking lot, we started to make repairs in the parking lot to address the puddling areas after it rains. There's still a few more areas that have to be addressed, but we should have this finished by next week. And we'll finish it off with completing it by restriping all the parking spaces in the directional areas in the parking lot. As Joe mentioned about the lights on the courts, the new light posts have been ordered. We're hoping to get them in by middle July sometime, with getting them replaced and getting the lights back up by the end of July. There's a total of 21 poles being replaced. And behind the scenes, obviously this summer, we're going to continue to work as we prepare for the expansion of the community center. And with all hopefully going well, we'll have things ready to go for construction to be starting the spring of next year. We want to welcome Douglas Dos Santos to our staff. He is our new court maintenance person. We're in the process of getting him trained now, so he'll be ready to keep our courts and general facilities looking their best. Lastly, and always, our staff appreciates everyone's support as they always give us, and that's my report. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Paul. Moving right along, Brian, treasurer's report.
Yep, give Paul a second to pull it up. Today we'll hit the traditional items on the treasurer's report, but I also wanted to share with my fellow board members and community just some planning we've been doing in terms of looking at our financial needs for the next 10 years. And with the undertaking of a large project like expanding the community center, I think it's worthwhile for us to step back occasionally and look and see, what do we have coming beyond this year, next year, and so forth. So we're prepared and planning accordingly. So starting with our monthly financials, operating income year to date, $6,000, which is about $17,000 worse than budget. And I'll talk about the reasons why in a moment. Expenses, $58,000 worse than budget, mostly in the areas of maintenance, utilities, special projects. And actually, one of the things that we didn't list, we probably should have, was labor costs. One of the things that's happened, and Paul's numbers show it, there's been a lot of increased activity in the spa. Spa revenues are up $41,000 versus budget. And there's a corresponding increase to our expenses, our labor costs for providers of the spa treatments, where those expenses are up $36,000 versus budget. So net, increase bottom line from the spa, but it distorts our expenses. Also, as you see in the note, as we were doing planning around the expansion, and I've mentioned this before, there was permitting, architectural fees that have fell to our operating expenses. Now that we've gotten approval to move forward, those items will be capitalized and taken out of expenses and put towards the project. Food and beverage sales are very strong for courtside through April, about 13% higher than last year. And lastly, resale fees, 51 net homes through April, exceeding budget by 13 homes. Now, I was told that in May, we've already had 15 or 16 home sales, Paul. So we've already gone past our budget number of 65 home sales for the year. And just keep that thought because I'm going to come back to it in a few minutes. Next slide. This is just our flash look at our cash positions. So operating fund, 3.3 million, a little bit higher than where we were last year. Replacement fund, 660,000, and the capital fund sitting at 633,000. All these numbers I'm going to carry forward as we look at the planning that I was talking about, and as we look to approve additional capital projects. The short story is that we have sufficient funds to move forward with those items. So I realize there's a lot of numbers on this page. I have, circulated this to my fellow board members, but this is our replacement study. So, and the replacement study goes out for 30 years. But looking at the next 10 years, starting this year, going out, if you look at line 24, I don't have a little highlighter here. We have $3.3 million of commitments in terms of replacement items. Okay, so as we look at paying for this building, paying for future capital items, this becomes number one in terms of making sure that we're meeting our financial needs of these items. I'll just highlight a couple items in green: the tennis lights and the fencing. And the fencing we still need to talk about later in this meeting. But assuming that moves forward, those are escalating up from future years. So if you look on line 29 to line 30, you see that we are moving that spending up from future years. In the case of tennis court fencing, it's about $20,000 more than we had in our reserve. And from the tennis lights, it's about 85,000 more. The reason it's more for the tennis lights is you have to go out another 10 years to capture the replacement of additional lights. But for the purposes of looking in the next 10 years, it's $85,000 more than what we had reserved. Looking at 2028, the items in orange, I just want to highlight. So the lobby work for this lobby, this ballroom and the lobby, as well as the playground, was supposed to be done this summer. And we made the decision to hold off on that until we knew we were doing the community center. And we're going to push that work out to be more in line with the completion of the community center. So that pushes those requirements out. I will say, as we meet with interior designers and we document really to modernize this facility from carpeting and painting and lighting and even ceiling tiles, I wouldn't be surprised that that 319,000 doesn't cover all of that. But that's okay. We have the money to capture overruns in that particular area, and I think it's the right thing to do. If we're going to modernize this building, let's do it right. Any questions at all? Okay. If you really want to see the reserve study, it's about big, and like I said, goes out for 30, 35 years. So now bringing this forward to the next page. So this is now a look at what our cash requirements are for the next 10 years. And it starts by where do we get our revenues? For the benefit of replacement fund, capital items, and really for some of the building expansion, it all comes from resale fees. Traditionally, we've budgeted 65 resale fees per year. Last year, we had 78, and we already passed 65 through May already this year. So from a planning perspective, and I still think this is a conservative number, I'm planning that we have 70 resale fees for the next 10 years. One of the things I'm going to recommend to the board as we get into budget season is we've been at $7,500 for a resale fee, which is kind of moderate in terms of the marketplace. I think it's time for us to bump that up. I show a two-tier adjustment to the resale fees over the next 10 years, maybe showing 4 or 5 years at $8,500, and then ultimately bumping to about $10,000 for a resale fee. Lines 2 through 5 is just a summary of the reserve schedule I just went through. So once again, showing about $3.3 million of requirements. Then we start getting on line 6 into the building, okay? And, we are planning on approximately $3 million of expenditures. That includes an 18% contingency in terms of making improvements, the expansion and the improvements to the facility. You see that we're modeling that loan with a payback over 9 years at a 7% interest rate. We actually have a second meeting with a loan broker on Tuesday, right? So we're going to continue to work towards firming up that construction loan. Lastly, from a capital standpoint, as you saw, our cash position from a capital standpoint is very strong. We started the year with 296,000. We anticipate spending about 176,000 this year. And then next year, we anticipate spending about 200,000, which is driven predominantly, half of that is the landscaping phase 2. I've been stressing to the community and my board members that as we go through the actual construction project and payback of the construction loan, which is greatly funded by the savings from the cable bill on line 8, we still have to have discipline in terms of capital spend in the neighborhood of about $200,000 per year. Obviously, we don't have anything else planned besides the landscaping next year, but that's kind of like our budget as we think about it to stay healthy financially. Okay, so I will update this probably once a quarter. It's important for us to have line of sight to this and not just looking at, this year or next year, especially as we have this large project. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, I do, Brian. Just a little bit of clarification. So number 10 is a big item, of course, which I think we all want to have our focus on. I just want to clarify what I'm seeing. So you're saying the first 1.7 million of the construction we would fund out of available cash, and then the remaining funded by loan? What is that saying in line 10?
No, I mean, at the point that the loan repayment starts, it's always hard when you use calendar years as opposed as months.
Right.
I would anticipate sometime in 27 that the draw against the loan would start. I think the initial $450,000, we have 300,000 in our building fund already, and we make up the rest through the resale fees this year.
So the loan amount, do you expect how much and when would it start?
The loan amount is I have modeled at 2.55 million.
Okay.
Starting. What's that?
Starting when, Brian?
I think it would probably start whenever we have to start buying supplies first quarter of next year.
Q1 27. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? A lot of numbers, I know, but.
Well, I know people have been asking questions in terms of visibility into this. So Brian, thanks for all the hard work on that, because I think it's by the fact that when none of us have any questions and the audience doesn't, you've done a really good job. So thank you.
Yeah,
sure.
I agree. You've done a great job, Brian. You've coming up with a finance plan a few months ago, modeling this out up into the future, making sure this works for us for the next 10 years. That's awesome work. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Moving back to the agenda, we've got the committee reports, the board liaisons. I'm going to ask Chris Diorio because he's here. Chris, do you want to give an update on court sports?
Had just finished up last year, had a great year of court sports, extreme great participation in terms of numbers from people playing. And we had a wide array of players from newer people to older people, younger people within the community. The committee itself next month will meet early in the month to develop the calendar as we go forward to next year. Some of the formats that we used in the events worked better in terms of getting people out and playing. The one key thing that the committee is grateful to is all of the support we've gotten from the board and the community with regard to the repairs and the renovations on fencing. We're fully in support of the initiatives that are in front of you today to vote in a positive direction for. We think that one makes sense. It makes the facility itself work in a better way. And it meets the needs of everybody. So we're 100% behind doing that. From a staffing standpoint, we really are grateful for the effort of Johan this year. As with Ally, we've lost Victor, but we gained Ransom. For those of you who don't know Ransom or haven't met him yet, I'm willing to stand behind this podium and say Ransom might be the best find in Southwest Florida. One, he's a terrific young kid, really eager. He's going to get a certification this summer with pickleball. Might be the best tennis player in all of this area. You'll see him in a pro league, which is something really to watch when he plays. But the biggest issue that's going on with pros in the program is that we've given each team the opportunity to come out and in the past create practices, doing group types of lessons, but really working on strategies. And we've got a great feedback so far from the women's teams because they're typically out ahead of the men's. But we want to take this as an opportunity for people to play, get better, get the instruction, be competitive among their group, and really boost some community camaraderie. What does that mean in terms of where the community, as we see it, is going with the number of home sales that Brian mentions? We're going to have newer people coming into the community and potentially a big draw on the facility, both tennis and pickleball. So if we can, as part of what we do with the calendar next month, in developing the calendar and the committee itself, bolstering the events, the pro shop is going to turn around and look at the daily schedules and the weekly schedules to spread things out so that we can take kind of the morning traffic rush and spread that out over the day. That will make a much greater experience for people so that when they're down playing, they can play. They're not sitting on the sidelines waiting. There are a couple of items that we're going to discuss with the committee. I had the opportunity yesterday to sit down in a great meeting with both Keith and Frank on some initiatives that we want to bring, but I'm not going to comment on that yet because the committee itself needs to be presented with that before we do anything there. And there are I look at it as all positives. But we had a great first year. And with many thanks to all of you guys here on the board and just, it really good experience and a lot of great feedback. And the key with the feedback is we ask the residents to go and reach out to the committee, come in person. But the other thing was if we ask somebody to send an email to courtsports@pelicanmarsh.com, it's so that all the people on the committee see it, not one or two people. So that when you come down time to an issue, there are people that are experiencing what's going on. It may be something at pickleball, it may be something at tennis, but we can educate the rest of the group and then make a recommendation to the board if it's something from a governance standpoint or a procedure that we'd like to see fit. So the other part of that is when somebody reaches out to us, we want to be able to get back to them and give them an answer so that there aren't rumors and dispel certain things. We want to have direct communication. And it's a key thing from the board. We really want, and I've spoken directly with Frank, our liaison, to get information back at the meetings to present what are the board vision? What are the numbers? What does it mean? What are your thoughts? Because that's really important that we collaborate in that way so that we can try to make the right decisions. But thanks again for everything. We're fully behind what you guys are doing and very grateful. So thanks.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
George, anything on bocce?
No, Joe, I haven't spoken to Dino, heard anything new going on with bocce.
Dino just gave me the nod. He concurs. Nothing new there. Keith?
Obviously on roads and gates projects, the gate 41 gate is well underway at this point. I think it's actually functioning as designed and intended, and it seems to be a minor inconvenience. If you're having to come back in, obviously you have to go back around to Vanderbilt Beach Road or whichever gate you prefer. So all in all, I think that's progressing on plan, and the expectation is it'll be done by October of this year. So hopefully before season gets back, that'll be operational and in the new form. I'm gonna ask Jim if he's got any additional information on the county roads projects in the surrounding area. He's probably got a comment or two to share there.
Thank you. I got an update this afternoon from the county. Believe it or not, Vanderbilt is supposed to begin construction in June. Now, that's about 7 or 8 months behind schedule. Airport is scheduled for the first month, January 2027 is probably a more realistic start date. But the biggest news is Goodland Frank Design. 30% of that will be done by August, and they will hold their first public hearing just shortly after Labor Day. So that's a key project for us. When that gets closer, we want to make sure all our residents know, because this is the time to make input on Goodland Frank, because that's the early design stage. So stay tuned.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Keep us posted.
6 months behind, 6 months.
Right on plan.
Okay, Denise is out, but we've got, I think we have one item do we have something to approve?
We have to,
Okay.
I'll present that
Okay.
time.
All right, and Uwe, anything on fitness?
So on fitness, we have some committee replacements. So there are candidates. We have some good candidates. The committee is looking at the candidates. It wasn't quite ready. The committee was not quite ready to make a recommendation for this meeting, but I expect that for the June meeting, there'll be a recommendation for new members for the fitness committee.
Okay. Thank you, Uwe. And in terms of long range planning, I think I've updated that in my opening comments, and we're going to continue to move forward on the items that we've got on our agenda. So that group has been kind of put on hiatus while we work with the subcommittee on, which is pretty much our focus now on the community expansion project. All right, moving on to new business. Brian, you want to handle 10.1?
Yeah, so on the finance committee, for various reasons, we were down to 4 members. The committee is recommending that we add Kyle Donahue and Daniel Dart to our committee to bring us up to 6. And I recommend and ask for approval that we add Kyle and Daniel.
Okay. I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up, Paul, is 10.2, the Tarpon Cove. We talked about this, and this has been kind of an ongoing thing, but we wanted to formally get this on the agenda and get it approved by the board formally. And so, Paul, if you can just kind of take us through this and then
Sure.
tee it up.
Pull it up here. Here we go. Okay, so Peter Olin on Long Range Planning Committee spearheaded this for us. We appreciate his work on this. So he is able to work with Tarpon Cove we've always had with Tarpon Cove the ability to use their beach shuttle, which is the water taxi out to the beach. He was able to work with them to add some additional benefits during the summer months for their members. So we worked it out. So May through October, in addition to this arrangements to use the water taxi, we can also now use their tennis and bocce and fitness and wellness. Their tiki bar and the resort pool will be open to us also, and also have access to their restaurant. So if you want to go to the beach one day, make a nice day of it, you go pick up some lunch at their bar, go to the beach, come back, and then get in their pool and cool down and wash up before you come back. So it's a great benefit for us. So in turn, we reciprocate to them. So we're going to allow them to use our facilities during the same time period where they can come over, and because they have no pickleball courts, they can play pickleball here, as well as tennis, bocce, and use our fitness center, and also have access to our courtside dining facilities. We'll make sure that obviously before they come over, they have to call, make reservations first, because we certainly, regardless of being summer, don't want to bump any of our residents' play before. So make sure there's openings to allow the guests to come over first.
I guess the key, this is a May through October reciprocal, and from a court sports perspective, our courts will be available after 11 a.m.
Yeah, that is also after 11 too, correct.
So we've talked about this. Now everybody's seen it. Any questions before put a motion to the board to get this approved? I'll go ahead and.
Yeah, I think what we've said before is this is a great trial, right? We can see if this works or not. If it doesn't work after one season, we have no commitment to continue it. So to me, it's a great opportunity.
Gives Tarpon Cove residents an opportunity to come over and eat at courtside and introduce them to that. And maybe they'll come back if they enjoy the food as much as we all do. So I'll go ahead and put a motion forward to approve this reciprocal agreement.
Yep, second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Okay, next up is 10.3. We talked about this in my opening comments. Paul did as well. The funding of the tennis court fence replacement.
Yes, so we went out and got 3 proposals for the entire fence replacement around the tennis courts. They range from as high as $255,000 down to $134,000. And the 134 number came from Global Fencing, which we've done work in the past with them and are fairly happy with their work. Speaking with Johan, administration and management would recommend going with that proposal. They did offer us an addition option to add middle crossbars to all the fencing sections if we wanted to, for an initial $10,000 to help over time make the court or the fencing more sturdy. The pickleball courts fencing, the new fencing we put around the courts this past year and a half ago, has this middle crossbar currently. So it would just overall just make the fencing more sturdy long term. So if you want to add that option, we could do that also. So it'd be a total of 144 to add that option.
Yeah, as I indicated
Right.
previously, we had about $110,000 in reserve for this project. We're moving it up a year, which kind of means that next year probably would be more than what we'd be paying for this year. To me, it's the right thing to do. Why don't we just approve the higher dollar amount, and then offline we could decide if we want the crossbars or not.
Yeah, I agree. So you
Yeah, so approve it with the extra crossbar money. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah,
We don't want to have to come back and do an amendment.
right.
I agree with that.
I mean, technically, it's a reserved item, so I'm not really sure if we need to vote on it, but we will just for clarity.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and make the motion and we'll get it approved, Brian.
Yes, I motion that we go ahead with the $144,000 for Global Fence. Go ahead and get the fences replaced this summer.
I'll second that.
Moved second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on to 10.4, approval of funding for canopy over patio on the north side of the pickleball courts. Paul?
I think Keith was going to take this one.
You
All right. I'm going to pull up the.
To pull that up. Okay, I'd like to present for the board's review and approval, a proposal to expand the seating area on the north side of pickleball court 6. The benefits of this is it adds an additional 600 square feet of covered seating area on that end of the courts. Something that's been a inconvenience, I'll say, certainly at this point, up to this point. It also provides a water fountain in that area for direct use by those sitting over there. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, it improves the safety in that area because we've included in this work stanchions between the utility path that's over there on the upper left and the seating area that's just below that between court 4 and the utility path. So I think it improves the seating area, safety and utilization very well, or access and whatnot, as it also is approachable through the sidewalk as opposed to having to walk around to the road sidewalk and then back through the utility path to get into that area. So all in all, I think it's a major enhancement for the seating in that area, and I think it's something that we should give serious consideration, and I would ask the board's approval in doing so.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have questions. So I just so we've had several discussions on this expanded seating area. I'm pleased to see this design. It makes sense. It seems straightforward. but it is a significant budget item that wasn't there before. And my question is to Brian. Brian, do we have the budget to do this? Can we afford to do this?
Yeah, I think as we highlight, as we were looking at the 10-year plan, as well as looking at the current balances in our capital funds, regardless of setting aside funds for the parking lot that we need to do later this year across the street, yes, we have sufficient funds for this project.
Okay.
It's within the means that we've outlined of, spending under 200,000 on any calendar year.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
I just have one. Keith, did anything come up about the fact that we may need some metal or cement structures around where the path is?
That's the stanchions. They're included in this scope.
Okay.
So there'll be 6 or so metal stanchions that'll be added along the utility path
Okay.
between the seating area and the utility path to keep the car traffic and cart traffic out of the seating area.
Perfect. Okay.
Is that what you're asking? Yeah.
Safety for both cars and for the
Yes.
folks walking around there.
Thanks.
Any questions from the community? Okay. Keith, you want to just make a motion and
Make a motion to approve the expanded seating area around court 6.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. And then 10.5, do we have a,
So we had 4 applications come in this past month for review, which the committee looked at. One was at 1081 Spanish Moss Trail. They are looking to basically replace and upgrade their exterior landscaping lighting around their trees and fountain. Second one was 9360 Sweet Bay Way. They want to paint the exterior of their home color of dove white for the exterior and the trim being Revere Pewter. And then at 9264 Sweetgrass Way, they are looking to add a generator with a Berry propane tank and replacing the garage door, along with replacing their windows with hurricane impact windows. And lastly, Osprey Point wants to upgrade their monument entry signs as well as the columns at the entrance, and also update the street signage throughout the community. And the committee looked at all these and saw within our guidelines, and we are recommending to the board for approval.
okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that covers new business. Any other board comments?
No additional comment.
Any comments from the community? Resident comments?
Sorry, Joe, I have a quick comment.
Sure.
On the building expansion. And there was a comment early on in Paul's report how much the spa activity has increased. And I think in the building expansion design, we have improved in the last couple of design rounds. We improved the way that little spa area is going to look. I think there have been a couple of good improvements.
Yep.
I wonder if we could look at it one more time and make it into the 3 rooms all into one little spa area to give it a more distinct little mini spa feel. And I think the demand for this spa is increasing quite a bit. And I think it deserves one more look to see if we could make it even a little bit nicer than it is now in the design.
I mean, there'll be various iterations of the design throughout the summer, working with our architect. So certainly we could take that back and even, connect you with James to make sure your concerns and just brainstorm what solutions there might be. So we're not at the point where everything's locked down in terms of the details, Uwe.
Yeah, I know. I just want to raise it because I think there's an opportunity to make a really nice little spa there, and I think it would pay off in terms of attracting users.
Yeah, I mean, just for clarity, our final architectural design in terms of the milestones we've developed is the end of October, and that will fit into our permitting process and so forth. So we have some time. We'll take that feedback back.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Uwe. Yes, sir.
I think I mentioned to Brian, excuse me, when you're redoing the building interior, you need to look at all the glass to get it up to a Cat 5. Because these windows are 20 years old. Okay, and if you're gonna spend that kind of money on the building, you want to get the best windows available, and these windows are 20 years old. So we
Okay.
have to take a look at Cat 5 and make sure they put Cat 5 in the expansion as well. I don't think it's a total requirement yet by the county, but it will be shortly. But since you're gonna be spending $3 million plus here.
Might as well get the right windows, yeah.
Better put the right
Sorry.
glass.
Okay.
I think-
Jerry, are we just speaking about the building expansion portion, or are you saying replacing existing windows?
Both.
The existing, I think the code would require us to do the new expanded building with the new glass,
You
the
gotta meet the
upgraded.
current code with the
Right.
new glass, all of it. But you have to take a look at everything you got in here.
Mhm.
You're gonna spend another $1 million into poke the ballroom and get blown out with a Cat 3.
That's a good point for us to look into. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jim.
Brian, is that in the budget to upgrade existing windows in the existing building?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, that is not in scope.
No, it's not reserved. It's, no. Doesn't mean that's not the right thing to at least ask the question and understand what's the cost associated with it.
Raise the dues sooner.
Okay. I think that concludes our board meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
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 Thank you all.